checking out What to Watch with Your Popcorn. I'm Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to be reviewing Mulholland Drive. It comes from writer-director David Lynch, and he puts together this sort of surreal, nightmarish world where police talk like 1940s hard-boiled detectives, and making a movie is like making a deal with the mafia. It's hard to tell the story with this movie, but in a small nutshell, Naomi Watts plays an aspiring actress who arrives in Hollywood, and she meets a stranger in her home that she's, I guess, renting or something.
Renting from her aunt,
yeah. From her aunt, yeah. And this stranger was in a car accident, and she doesn't remember who she is, and so Watts' character tries to help her out, and there's also a second story involving a director trying to get a movie off the ground, and he's played by Justin Theroux. And Mulholland Drive, with David Lynch, he creates these sequences of dreamlike film noir mystery as well as a dark satire on Hollywood. And Dave, this movie reminded me of another movie called The Player that Robert Altman made. Both of these movies were like satires on Hollywood, because for years, you know, in the movies, everyone's like, oh, Hollywood is this great big dream factory, but these two films suggest that that's not really the case. You know, there's people you can't trust, there's people that are fighting over the controls of your film, and there's broken people. In this movie, the only character you can trust for most of this movie was Naomi Watts, because Rita is the stranger's. That's what they call the stranger in this movie, Rita. She's the only. Naomi Watts' character is the only friend that she has. There's nobody else you can really trust in the business.
Right. Really isn't the type of movie that somebody his age would be directing, really.
Yeah, I think he would. He's been in the movie business long enough where he can. I think with Dune, he had a lot of problems with Dune, like with the studio. So I can see how that experience might play with this movie. So I think he was just right. I mean, yeah, he's been making movies. I believe Eraserhead came out in 77?
77 or 78.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah. So I think I can imagine him making this type of movie. Why did you think this wouldn't be his type of thing?
Because this really wouldn't even appeal to like older audiences. I don't think this would be more like teenagers and like people in their 20s, like the kind of people that would have watched like Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs or stuff like that. I mean,
I don't 100% agree with that. I mean, the difference with Reservoir Dogs and this movie is, you know, Tarantino kind of spells things out a little bit more with his films. I mean, you don't see the robbery in that film, but you know, you have the actors talking about it. But that is a good point with what David Lynch here did with this movie, because right from the start, the audience is asked to figure out what's going on. This movie does not spoon feed the audience with hardly any information. The dialogue, it reminded me of these old acting exercises I did in school, where you got this plain dialogue and you had to sort of interpret it, and it turns out every actor in the room might have a different way of saying lines, and the scene ends up turning into something different with each performance. You know, the dialogue, it suggests things without spelling anything out. Like, for example, take the scene 20 minutes into the movie where the director is having a meeting with some of the investors and the studio staff about this movie. You know, it suggests stuff, but you know, they don't really spell it out. It's kind of vague, you know, but the viewers, I guess, can kind of make up their own story based on what they see on the screen.
It's very unique storytelling and whatnot, and the way they acted it out and all that. And there's like a lot of expressions used and whatnot. But yeah, you really can't. This was one of those movies where you can't figure out the plot at all until the movie is over, basically.
Yeah,
you don't really see what's coming, because it takes so many turns, and a lot of it, sometimes it don't even make sense until you sum it all up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what I loved about this movie, was you got all these images, but you could kind of guess and make up what's going on as the movie progresses. I didn't like the last third of the movie, without giving anything away, because they do kind of put the pieces together for you. But I didn't want the movie to end, because I enjoyed watching these two characters trying to figure out what's Rita's past is like, and seeing a little bit of Naomi Watts trying to audition for movies, and this second story with the director. You know, that's what I liked about the movie. It doesn't spell anything out. Yeah, you do have to throw the conventional storyline formula out the window with this movie, because it looks like it's going to start out that way, but then there's a lot of stuff coming in and out, you know, in a weird dreamlike
Yeah,
fashion. You know?
and then you got other characters in this movie that have like nothing to do with either of the two stories going on. Like you got this one crazy like troll looking character behind a dumpster behind a restaurant called Weenies in here and all that, and these two guys are like afraid of it and all that.
Yeah, that's a classic scene. I took it that the guy living behind the dumpster could have been somebody that was trying to make it in the business, but he just couldn't, and now he's a homeless guy. You know, that, see, you can make up stuff. Another thing I noticed with Naomi Watts versus the Hollywood people seem to be a little bit more closed, while Naomi Watts' character early on in the movie, she's a little bit more open and she's willing to talk to everybody. Yeah, this movie creates an unsettling atmosphere, and you know, I think the horror music-ish score really helps play the role in the shadowy lighting. It can be a very scary, unsettling. What really works great for this movie well is the Rita character played by Laura Elena Henning, I believe her name is.
Yeah.
She has a very expressive face, and she's got those huge brown eyes. She does look like she's confused and she doesn't know what's happening to her or what's been going on. It works, I think. It works very well. Her performance works very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, and for a while the movie doesn't have a lot of dialogue. You have to kind of observe, so I don't know if that's going to be something that's trying for some people, again, with the spoon feeding. And one final thing, I noticed this when I was watching the movie. I don't know if you picked up on this, but the DVD, you know how movies on DVD are split up into tracks? This one was all one track.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because I was like, I had to like stop the movie a couple times, and and I guess I may have hit like stop twice because it started at the beginning again, and I tried to I tried to see if I could go to another track to find where I had left off, and it was all one track. I'd hit the next button and it would just go to like the company credits at the end.
Yeah, it can be frustrating, but I think Lynch did that because he wanted this all to be like one piece, like it's one whole journey, sort of like a one whole dreamish sort of thing.
Yeah, because I was like looking at the discs.
There's no menu at the beginning where it says chapter. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I can see why it's not for everybody, but I think give this movie a shot. I really enjoyed it, and the images have been in my head since I've seen it, and I want to see it again.
Yeah, I do too.
So you liked it too then?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's our review from Mulholland Drive. Leave your comments about the video or about the movie, and thank you for watching.